Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talk Wordy, my hub for all of the words that I read, write, or otherwise want to yap about. Today, I have a very special... Every time I say yap with an author guest, I'm like, I feel so weird.
No, it's great.
Today, I have a very special author guest on the pod. They are the New York Times bestselling author of young adult and middle grade, including the acclaimed Sidekick Squad, and most recently, Coffee Shop in an Alternate Universe. Please welcome C.B. Lee.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
I've been so excited to talk with you specifically because I think you are my only middle grade author at the convention, which is so cool. It's something new and different that I can't wait to discuss a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
But what I like to do is a warm up with my guests.
Okay.
Normally, when we have more time, I like to debrief everything, what we're reading, watching, and listening to. But for the sake of time, tell me, are there any current like pop culture media hyperfixations that you've got hot on the brain these days?
I just finished Automatic Noodle
I've
by
never
Anna Lee
heard of
Newitz.
that.
It's a novella. It's really great. It's set in a dystopian future where California has seceded from the United States, and it's the aftermath of the Civil War. But it's about a group of cyborgs that have decided to open a noodle restaurant, and it's just great. It's like Anna Lee does the like best like sci-fi, and I just think their world is really fun. And it's a short read, but it's got like so much heart. It feels very cozy if you like noodles, if you like robots who are fighting for their rights.
It's such like a funky combination, but it works kind of well. Like I want to go pick that up. You said
It's
it was a
great.
novella?
Well, it's like a short novel. It feels like, I don't know the exact length, but it's a good short read. I enjoyed it.
Noted.
Not quite a short story, not quite like a super long novel, but it's great.
Okay, I'm going to mark that down for when I'm super behind on my Goodreads TBR or my reading goal for the year. I'm marking it down as we speak. Okay, so let's talk about Coffee Shop in an Alternate Universe. So for our listeners that may be unfamiliar with your work, tell us a little bit more about the book.
Yeah, so it's a YA cozy fantasy. It's about two girls, Brenda and Kat, who meet in a coffee shop and they hit it off. And in their like super like connecting first conversation, Brenda thinks that she's talking about D&D and fictional magic, and Kat thinks that she's talking about real magic. And so they have this like great moment of connection. They set up a first date. And then on the first date, both girls think that the other girl has stood them up. But it turns out that they actually live in two different universes. And so in order to continue to date and, see each other, they have to travel between their two universes. So one universe has magic.
Cool.
One is very much like our own.
That's so awesome. So is it about them like trying to like bridge the gap to find each other again? Or?
Yeah. The second time it happens on accident, and then they like uncover this like secret society that knows about the portals, and there's like shenanigans. There's a dragon that becomes the size of a cat. There's a cat that becomes the size of a dragon. It's really fun. I wanted to write something that felt like a warm hug.
Yeah, I love that. No, I feel like the cozy genre, especially in fantasy, is like really in its bag right now. It's been on the rise for a while. I've noticed it a lot more when I go peruse bookstores, which I love. What do you think it is about like cozies that are just so magical for the reader experience and for the author?
Yeah, I feel like everyone wants that warm hug right now, and it's fun, it's escapist, and it's also very comforting. And I think for me, the cozy genre isn't necessarily like, oh, there's nothing happening or there aren't any like high stakes. There are obviously stakes, there's a story, there's romance, like everyone does cozy a little bit differently. But I think what you know about it going in that is that everything's going to be all right. That you know that you're going to feel good at the end of it. You might have some like highs and lows, but you're going to feel good, and it's going to feel nice to like just enjoy and take a break. And there's so much going in the world right now that like taking care of yourself, I think feels very, it feels very intentional to be able to take that time and just enjoy. We're at a romance convention. It's so amazing to see so many people here who are like, hey, I'm finding my joy here. I love romance. I love books. And that it is important to just celebrate that and lean into that joy.
Absolutely. Okay, so if your two leads in this book were coffee orders, what do you think that they would be?
So shout out to Shio Coffee, which is a coffee pop-up in LA. They actually made Kat and Brenda into beverages.
Oh my gosh.
For my book launch. And they did, so Kat was a golden latte. And No. Sorry. Brenda was the golden latte. She had espresso because Brenda's very high energy. She's got anxiety. She's type A. So she was the latte with like an extra shot of espresso, and it had like splash of turmeric, and it was very sweet and like warming and had honey in it. And then Kat was a lavender pea syrup with like a cold brew. And that was their personalities. I think what they would drink would probably be different. But yes, that would be them as their coffee. If their character personalities were coffee.
I love that. Okay, so I want to play a quick game of rapid fire with you. I'm going to give you some bookish options, and there's no wrong answers. There's only your answers. But I do want you to set the record straight for yourself. Okay. Are you an ebook, physical, or audio reader?
All of the
All of the above? What currently is what you reach for?
I currently reach for... It's the vibe, right? Because if I'm in the car, I'll listen to an audiobook, or if I'm working out, I'll listen to an audiobook. If I'm reading at home, I love having a physical copy. But like if I'm traveling, ebooks. Also, there's a time when like right before bed where I'll just pull up an ebook because I have like access to so many of them in my stash. Yeah. And they're all like I can read them on my reader or my phone. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to close the large screen and open the small screen before I go to sleep. But it's nice to have that like comforting, like, like the e-reader experience. It's just different vibes. They're all great. Right?
And I also feel like the e-reader, something about it's like not OLED. I feel like it doesn't hurt your eyes as much versus like if you're on your phone. It does help me settle down, especially when I can put it in dark mode. I love it. Would you rather conquer your TBR pile or buy a new book?
I would purchase more books.
Yes.
I do, like, I chip away at the TBR pile, but I don't feel, like, pressure about it anymore because it's just more books, right? And they're, like, in my home or, like, I have a stack of them, and I just love that they're there. And then when the stars align for that particular moment, that particular vibe, I'll reach for that book and read it. I just read a book that I've had for, like, 2 years. And then I like really enjoyed it. This was Zoe Brennan, First Crush by Laura Piper Lee, who is here at the convention. Yeah. And I met her and I said, I love your book. I just read it, even though I owned it for over a year. Yeah.
Okay, writing playlist or a project vision board?
Both. I'm more about the playlists. Because the vision boards, I don't know. Actually, I've started doing more vision boards lately because I need that aesthetic, that feel like, what does the setting look like? What are the foods? What are the outfits? And what is the like mood board for each character? So I can get a sense of like what and who they are. But the playlist starts almost immediately. I usually curate 2 playlists. Like one is for like the vibes, which is just the like, the songs that are capturing the feelings of the novel, and then and then the songs that I listen to while I'm writing. And these songs are usually almost always like soundtrack music. I don't like to listen to lyrics when I write because I get distracted or like it's not part of the story. But like movie soundtracks, they're very specific to like I have an action writing playlist, and I have like a romantic writing playlist, and then some that are just like the walking through the woods type aesthetic, like they're adventuring. They need like, there's like a slight amount of intrigue, but like all of these are just like soundtracks that I'll like put on and that set the mood while I'm writing. Yeah,
for sure. Couch reading or bed reading?
Couch. Okay, in the bed is when I have my e-reader. Yeah. Because that's before I'm going to bed. And then the couch is like I'm curled up. I have a blanket. I've got the pillows. It's like cozy. So it's different moments.
Okay. Are you a coffee, tea, or soda person?
I would say tea. Even though I've written a book that takes place in the coffee shop. I do love coffee. My partner really loves coffee. And I think part of the experience about like going to a coffee shop is like you're in the community, right? You're going out, you're enjoying, you're supporting a small business, and you're sitting there and like, I used to be very like, why would I go spend money outside when I can make coffee at home? And I realized that like, no, it's part of the experience, right? You're being there and you're enjoying it. That's like a different moment than just being at home. Yeah.
And then happy ending or a cliffhanger?
I would say happy endings. Cliffhangers only for if I absolutely know there's going to be a follow-up. Yeah. I do enjoy it as like a moment in a story because I think it's really like clever, and I definitely like as a reader I appreciate it, but I also both appreciate and I'm like, why? When does the next book come out? or, cliffhangers in chapters, end of the chapters, because then you just keep going.
You're like, I can't stop now. I was like, what have been some of your favorite cliffhanger moments as a reader?
I think that's really hard because you don't, it's like go directly to the next book. This is the type of question where I was like, head empty. I've never read a book in my life.
I know. I'm like, okay, if I were asked the same question, what would I say? Probably, okay, just because it was one of the most iconic cliffhangers in my reading experience and I was younger, probably Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard, because the book had just come out. It was the second book. Book had just come out. I was on an airplane going on a school trip, and I don't even know what state I was in when I read the ending, and I was 17 and furious. It's like, what do you mean?
It might have been, okay, it's hard to remember because I read all of these very fast in sequence. So the Murderbot Diaries. So I was reading just like one after the other before the new series came out. And one of them, it's not a great, like a super like solid cliffhanger, but it's just like, well, where are they going? Like, why would you bring? So it's, I think in sci-fi, a lot of people do this where you do see it in trilogies, especially where like one book ends and you're like, all right, let's go. Let's go. Hit the ground running. We're ready for book 3.
Yeah, for sure. So I think every author at one point in their career always dreams of becoming a New York Times bestseller. What was it like for you hitting that milestone?
It was really an honor, and I was very like blown away, especially with all the like reception Coffee Shop received. I've been writing and publishing for like 10 years, and since then, I think the reason why I started writing is that I wanted to write the books that I wish I had as a teenager, and I wanted queer books to exist for queer teens, and just knowing that my books have been accessible, that like so many people have like loved them or recommended them, like the July of last year when Coffee Shop came out was such a whirlwind. And I remember very distinctly when the New York Times news happened, because I was on a train to go to San Diego Comic-Con from LA. And I remember like the Wi-Fi wasn't super great on the train. So I was just kind of like listening to audiobooks and hanging out and like scrolling through my phone. And then, oh wait, no, this is, okay, wait, the day before I got on the train, I'm mixing the moment up when I was talking about it. But I had actually gotten an email from my editor that was like, hey, do you have time for a phone call? And I was like, what? Is everything okay? What's that? So, and then I was like, yeah, sure. And then like 15 minutes later, they called me and told me the book had hit the list. And it was such a moment of like shock, but also like, wow, like this is incredible. But that had been, that was almost a month after Coffee Shop Hangout. No, now I'm mixing up my timeline completely. I'm so sorry.
Okay. No, you're
because,
fine.
like, several things happened all at once. Like, it was a Barnes & Noble pick for the month, which was huge. Like, that was such a huge honor, just to be able to walk into a Barnes & Noble and, like, see a table full of my books, to know that, like, all across the country, every single Barnes & Noble was like, yeah, like, we're, like, excited about this book, and that they chose it as their YA pick was a huge honor. And then yes, okay, now I remember the sequence. On the train, on the Amtrak, was when I learned it was a USA Today bestseller.
Oh, wow.
Then the phone call was New York Times, because I was at home for that. But I was really, it felt very incredible to be seen, just to know that like a book about like two queer girls like falling in love and having a romance was recognized, right? And just that like the people everywhere can see it. And it's publishing is really weird, because some of these are like a little arbitrary. Some of them are like based on sales. And the month thing after was because they were counting paperbacks. So when people are like, oh, it's like an instant USA Today bestseller, we're like, okay, that happened the week of, right? Because they're just counting book sales.
Yeah.
Like hardcover, paperbacks, doesn't matter. But because the New York Times doesn't count, like if you're in young adult, they don't count, like they only count hardcovers for the weekly lists. So Coffee Shop didn't hit the list until a month later when they were like, okay, what happened in July? Then they counted all of July all at once. But I'm still like blown away.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
I love that for you, though. What advice do you have to any newer or debut authors that have these kind of aspirations ahead of them on their horizon? What kind of pieces of encouragement would you offer them as somebody that's been publishing for 10 years?
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get caught up on like looking at what other people are doing and to say like, that is so exciting. Like all these other people are getting things. And I think the best piece of like writing and publishing advice was from another author who was like, hey, just concentrate on what you're doing. Don't compare yourself to other people because that's gonna, you're gonna start like feeling insecure, feeling bad because everyone is on their own journey. And like some people's journeys are going to be on different pace. Like this took me 10 years. It's not, nothing is ever instant. You know, everything is building upon itself. Like this book would not be possible without the previous book or the previous book before that. And like who I am as a person and like all of my experiences leading up to this. So it's not just like you're writing your first book and not that this doesn't happen, which it does, which is great, but it's very unique and like, don't feel pressured by like, everyone's like, oh, I'm hitting this goal and it's the end all be all. But like, I think also measuring your success, like for me, the first time that I saw my book in a public library, that was so important and special. And I remember like crying and like tearing up. And I think that moment happened for Not Your Sidekick and seeing this book be like in the like special like plastic and with the library tag and knowing, I talked to the librarian and she was like, well, it's hard to keep on the shelf. We had to get more because kids kept checking it out. And I was like sobbing in the library and remembering that moment like 10 years ago, that meant so much more to me in that moment than like learning that I hit the list. Like obviously different moments in my career, but like there were like that marker to me felt like success, right? Yeah. And like as any career that you're going, you're going to be moving your own goalposts. So my encouragement to writers is just like, keep writing, do what you love, keep doing what you're doing. Like, you know, your aspirations are your aspirations, but like thinking about what other people are doing is going to distract you from your own goals.
Yeah, I love that. That was great. So obviously when we're recording this, we are at Lovelit, but by the time this comes out, it'll be a little bit further down the line into the future. Where can our listeners in the future find you, your books? Are you going to any more upcoming events? All that good stuff.
Yeah, I am going to be at the LA Times Festival of Books in April, and you can always find me on social media as CB_Lee Lee. Website, cb-lee.com. The next event is, oh wait, no, there's a couple events before that. I'm in conversation with like a couple of different authors for their launches, but you can always find me on socials and check out my events or join my newsletter. And the next in-person would be at the LA Times Festival of Books. Awesome.
Love that. Okay, there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in to Talk Wordy, and my thanks again to CB Lee for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been so much fun.
Absolutely. I had a blast. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Instagram at Talk Wordy Pod, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, you guys.
Bye.